our neighborhood, I'm confident you would feel the same way. Second, we're worried about the impact of our daily lives, increased traffic, parking shortages, and lower property values. Our streets were not designed for the volume that 54 new condominiums will bring, especially condominiums without visitor parking available. We are not anti development, but we do believe strongly in responsible development. And that includes transparent communication with residents, environmental due diligence, and traffic mitigation strategies. We are a tight knit community and we are proud of what we've built. We want to preserve the quality of life we have worked so hard to maintain. I respectfully urge you to take our concerns seriously and use the tools within your jurisdiction to pause, investigate, and push for solutions that protect the health and well being of your constituents. Thank you for your time and for your service to our city.
Thank you. Next person, please.
Hello, good evening. So that was my wife there. Good evening, Mayor, city members, and city staff. So my name's Jose Morales, and I live at 5343 Elmira Road. That's just steps away from the proposed development at 10130 Adela Avenue. So I'm also here tonight to just really strongly oppose this project, not just as a resident, but as a father of two young daughters who is deeply concerned about what this means for the safety, character, and the peace of our neighborhood. My wife and I chose this community because it offered something rare. It's a quiet, safe place to raise a family. So we constantly walk with our daughters, we know our neighbors. That's a sense of calm and the connection here that you just don't find anywhere else in the city. This project, it threatens to take that away. So just building a 54-unit condo complex in this location, it's also going to bring heavy traffic. There's going to be a lot of parking challenges and just daily disruptions in an area that it isn't built to support it. Now, our streets are narrow. Many children live and play here. The added congestion from the many new residents and vehicles will create a safety hazard, especially for families like mine. Now, even more concerning is the history of the site itself. As you know, it was previously used for industrial purposes, steel manufacturing. And I have not seen any independent or transparent information proving that the soil is fully remediated and safe. There's been reports, but those reports are outdated, and that's what we're asking for, something recent. Now, I shouldn't have to worry whether my daughters are walking or breathing near toxic land or air. No parent should. Now, I understand the need for housing, we all do, but we also need to be smart and responsible about where and how we grow. This development does not reflect that responsibility. It sacrifices neighborhood safety, liability, and long-term health in the name of short-term progress. I respectfully ask this council to support our appeal and oppose the 10130 Adela project. Do it for the families who already called this neighborhood home. Do it for the children whose lives will be directly impacted by this decision. Thank you for your time and for listening.
Thank you. Next.
Mayor, would it be possible for me to interject with just
Sure,
a
go
couple
ahead.
points for everybody? So, but thank you. Just to clarify on this particular project, I was at the Planning Commission last week, and we did talk about it, and I wanted to clarify any maybe some of the uncertainty that was brought up from that meeting. The staff have been talking about for instance, one of the things being brought up here is traffic impacts, and there is currently a K-rail, the concrete curbing to block traffic from Legacy Lane into this neighborhood. And the discussions that staff were having is that's a very, I would say, shoddy kind of primitive looking device. The thought is that in the event of emergency, it would be helpful to have some way for emergency access one way or the other if the schools need to evacuate or the people need to get forward. So the idea was to replace it with a gate, not to have it open all the time, not to have it for through traffic, not to increase the traffic load either into the school or into the neighborhood, but to have it closed all the time and only have emergency vehicle access. So I don't think that was clear and really defined because we were still having discussions last week, but wanted to assure folks that this is not opening the gates for traffic. That apartment will have to access through the two access points off of Atlantic and not through your neighborhood. Just wanted to clarify that, just in case there was confusion. And then the other part is that testing of the soils has occurred to ensure we as a city will, assure that that has been cleaned, and there are studies available we can provide, I'm sure. And then I had mentioned at the Planning Commission for parking concerns, in case anyone would want to park from the apartments in the neighborhood and walk maybe over to them, that a parking program that we have already in the city in many neighborhoods can be implemented if the neighbors decide they want to add that, which gives each resident 2 street parking slips, and then it's parking officers will monitor and ticket anyone who's not got the ticket. So that would be a mechanism to ensure that the neighborhood does not get impacted by parking. So sorry to interject there, but I thought maybe that would be helpful as part of this discussion to give a little more information to the discussion.
Thank you. Thank you, City Manager.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, and city staff. And thank you, City Manager, for that information. I think I did have something already drafted, but I want to go off of what you said. I don't think our neighbors are only commenting on that gateway. But since the light has been up, right, the stop light, the traffic light, we have received severe traffic jams during the school hours. We understand that Legacy has many students and parents are normally dropping off and picking up. I myself am a mother of 2. I had my daughter and my son enrolled in a nearby small school where it would take me 30 minutes to leave my neighborhood. Just around the corner, it would take me 30 minutes to get to 2 blocks away. Slightly nervous, I can't remember that street since I'm not a native Southgate resident. I came from Linwood, but I see how it may provide a gateway in case of an emergency, and that's always great. But I think we're concerned about the mass number of units that are being built. More units means more people and more traffic. And I think that's our biggest concern. And while we do see another solution providing parking passes, that's great. But with ADUs being built and more than 2 cars per house, assuming we're raising our children there and one day they too will get a car, I see this as a issue that will prolong. And then what will the solution be? I'm just wondering and thinking out loud. But I actually came to say that as a resident, I really do think this puts our neighborhood at risk. I moved here about 2 years ago from the city of Linwood, and it was amazing and a true blessing to find a nice pocket in the city of Southgate where my children could safely walk around and ride their bikes. To me, that was rare, especially growing up in a small city nearby, where they were not allowed to walk or ride their bikes, even with our presence. Now they can walk 2 houses over. Our neighbors greet them, they wave, and we know that normally cars entering our neighborhood are neighbors or visitors. We're not worried so much about who is driving around. And that is true blessing. Something that it may be really discouraging for a condo to take that away from us. I just want to end with that. It's already a blessing, and it's really sad to hear that plans have been made and there was in full transparency.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we get your name, please?
I apologize for that. Leticia Morales,
Leticia Morales.
5359 Almera.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good evening, Mayor and everyone. My name is Rosanna La Rosa. I reside at 5205 Elmira Road. I was actually raised in Southgate, and I have, a lot of good memories here. And I'm also opposed to the development at 10130 Adela, and I appreciate the city manager's, additional information, but I'm basing my position on the plans that I've seen. And I don't see any sort of K-rail or operational arm or anything on that plan where that K-rail sits now. So I'm just going to, go by what I know and what I've seen and read. And so what I'd like to say is that while I don't oppose a sound development that's going to benefit the city and the future property owners in our city, that benefit to some must not pose a risk to the health, quality of life, and property values of others, namely, in this case, those who reside to the south of this project from Aldrich to Bluemont and in between, which I am one. As the lead agency for this project, you know that in accordance with state density bonus law, the city must grant a waiver of any development standard that would prevent the construction of the project unless the city finds that the requested waiver would have a specific adverse impact upon health, safety, or the physical environment. And I believe that the removal of the K-rail at Adela and Aldrich does pose a safety risk. And the increase in traffic, parking demands, and noise will impact our quality of life. But most importantly, the operational related emissions released during construction, as highlighted under sensitive receptors on page 33 and 34 of the exemption report, does speak to a potential adverse impact upon health, primarily upon the most vulnerable people in our community. This section notes potential negative health effects upon the elderly 65 plus, children under 14, athletes, and people with cardiovascular and chronic respiratory diseases such as asthma, emphysema, and bronchitis. Please note that this neighborhood is situated between a heavily traveled freeway and Wright Road, a heavily traveled street, probably more heavily traveled than Atlantic. And we are already experiencing the ramifications of excessive traffic and all that comes with it. So I urge the mayor and city council to consider the long-term consequences of your decision. Please do not rush this project to groundbreaking because sometimes what is done cannot be undone. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Good evening, Mayor, Madam Davila, and council member and city staff. My name is Arturo Alvarez. I live at 5305 Aldrich Road. I've been a resident of Southgate for over 20 years, and I'm concerned over the development. I understand you provided some insight, but I still have concerns. I'm just going to read off my letter that I drafted. So I'm here on behalf of myself and my neighbors regarding ongoing concerns related to the development behind our homes. For over 5 years, we have been subjected to excessive dust and dirt from this site, significantly impacting our quality of life. My understanding is that the current development should have a properly covered fence to minimize exposure. Yet, as of my last check, no such thing is covering is in place. Additionally, there is no visible signage indicating whom to contact regarding that issue. And that's been for years. One of our primary concerns is soil testing. The soil was last tested approximately 5 years ago, but no disclosure was made regarding the results. It does not appear that any additional testing has been conducted since. Given that report suggests contamination at a nearby site at Legacy High School, after 10 years, it is critical that the soil on this property be reevaluated to ensure the safety of residents. While state regulations may require testing or notifying people within 300 feet, the airborne dust and dirt particles travel much farther than 300 feet. Additionally, the noise pollution from ongoing construction and soil movement has caused physical cracks on my walls, my building, and my brick walls. That was from the previous people that knocked down the building, removed the soil from all the banging on the, from removing the soil that caused some of that damage. Furthermore, we strongly oppose the removal of the K-rail barrier as it was originally installed to protect neighborhood children from traffic. We already witnessed reckless driving, including street racing and donuts on Legacy Lane multiple times a week. That is consistent. I do not bother calling the police for something like that because they're busier with something more more serious than some guy doing donuts in the backyard. They've crashed into the fence at Legacy or the junior high school, I don't know how many times. Some of that doesn't even get reported. Removing this, excuse me here. Removing the K-barrier critical safety barrier will only increase the risk of serious injury to our residents and damage to our property. And the traffic is horrendous. On Aldrich Road, it literally takes me anywhere from 15 minutes to 20 minutes just to get out of my street, and then another 10, 15 minutes just to pass Tweedy. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
My name is Susan Janer. I live at 5314 Batavia Road, and it's 2 short blocks away from this proposed project here. I want you to listen to what my neighbors are saying. Their objections to this. My main thing is about the traffic and about the pollution of the traffic. There's so much traffic on Wright Road right now because of the high school, and this would add to it. If there's an emergency, how are people going to get out? But besides that, I want to say about the barricade that's there. I don't want people driving in and out of our neighborhood. We have a very nice, quiet neighborhood. I just think that my neighbors have a lot better way of saying what it is that I want to say. I helped you guys a lot. You know, I put your signs on my front yard to elect you. So I want you to be able to listen to our concerns. And don't just say, oh, well, it's private or it's business and we're mandated to do this and that and the other. We have a very nice neighborhood over there, and we don't want all that traffic and all that pollution and all that, just the digging. When they start to make that, it's going to make a big mess. Trucks and problems. Maybe that land could be used better, in a better way for our community. Maybe. I hope so. But it's been vacant for quite a while. Now they just, I just feel like it's just about making money. But what about our quality of life, and what about all the things that my neighbors have just said? So you're there to serve us. We voted you in and supported you because we trust you to do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Next speaker, please.
I'm going to take my mask off since we're all 6 feet apart here. Hello, Madam Mayor and City Council members. My name is Lisette Batres. I am also a community member. I've been a member of this community for 30 years approximately, not revealing my age. But I'm also here to oppose the condominium project on Adela. Primarily, when I was at the commissioners meeting, my main opposition was the K-rail removal. But once I was listening to the project itself, I was really eye-opening. All of the other concerns that were brought up, not only by my fellow neighbors, but by the city itself. There was a member in the city that brought up environmental issues that haven't been fully addressed, even though it was passed by the commissioners meeting. And then also parking. Parking was also an issue that was brought up. It was determined that the condominium project would only have 2 parkings per condominium or per condo, not allowing for visitor parking or additional parking. And I'm concerned that the resolution to that is that you're putting the burden on the community to have permit parking to prevent individuals from parking in our community, opposed to telling the developers to build the visitor parking or to do something to support additional parking. Instead, you're putting the burden on the community itself. So those are my 2 concerns, in addition to all the concerns that my fellow residents and neighbors are also sharing. The environmental hazards. I'm also raising small children in this community, but it's not only about the small children. I also have elderly parents that live in this community. There's a huge community of elderly individuals that are also going to have health hazards as a result of this project. If there isn't due diligence done as far as the environmental testing and anything that needs to go on to prevent any health hazards to not only our children, but also our elderly community. So I urge you to please revisit this plan, revisit the commissioner's planning meeting. There were also very valid points that were brought up during that meeting before you make a final decision on this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Madam Mayor. My name is Ricardo Barba Ochoa. I live at 9719 Hildreth Avenue, directly in front of Southgate Park. I'm here to speak. Well, I want to preface this by saying thank you for the work that you have done, not just you, but staff. I know I'm also a civil servant, so I know it's a thankless job. It's not easy, but again, as one of the previous commentators, we did elect you to come in and serve the community, so you are representatives. I'm here to speak on for those who cannot speak for themselves, and I'm wearing a T-shirt that depicts illustrative images of my dogs, Mia, Molly, and Mason. What you don't see here are images of my two rabbits, which all of them are adopted. I'm here to speak on the point of fireworks. My dogs on Saturday night, we're enjoying a nice evening. I actually went to the carnival that you all put together at Southgate Park. I had a great time in the evening, and the afternoon, I'm sorry. But in the evening, around 8 p.m., the lights went out and there was a fireworks show. And I've been dealing with this. I'm a newer resident. I don't have the equity that most of these people have. I'm a native son of Huntington Park, where I also work. I moved into the community 3 years ago. I'm very happy, and I hope that it will be my forever home. And I want to engage with you all and the rest of the community as I get to know more about Southgate to help better the community, not just for myself and my dogs and my rabbits, but for the entire community as a whole. But I want to bring up the issue of fireworks because I just feel that it is an antiquated means of celebrating, 4th of July or any of these other things, because it traumatizes not only my pets, but when you go beyond that, there's military veterans. I have friends who are in the military who have PTSD, who suffer from these loud explosions that are unnecessary. They're absolutely asinine, in my opinion. I think it's absurd that we still practice this. We live in an age of technology where now there are elaborate drone shows that put up a much better show. They're much more fun for the community. They won't rattle windows. My dogs, when the fires were set off, I couldn't find them. I went into the kitchen. I was dog sitting my stepdaughter's dog, and all four of them were huddled, trembling in the corner of my kitchen. After when I was consoling them for about 5-10 minutes, then it snapped, and I thought, what about my rabbits? I went to look for them. They were outside of their enclosure. I couldn't find them. I ran around my house looking for my rabbits. They were tucked underneath my bed, huddled together. And I figured, how absurd that we're still doing this in this day and age. Not only that, but it goes beyond that. I'm sure the police department would be grateful if they didn't get inundated with calls of, hey, what's going on with all these bangs? There's people setting off illegal fireworks, especially. I'm sure firefighters would appreciate that we didn't have to allocate resources to go into homes because somebody caught on fire. I'm sure emergency rooms would be appreciative that they don't have to sew some kid's finger back on because it blew up. So I'm hoping that we can maybe move beyond fireworks and try to find other means to celebrate, 4th of July and other events in the community. Thank you for your time.
Thank
all
you.
for your service.
Thank you for your comments.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Council. My name is Danielka Solorzano, and I am a homeowner of east of Atlantic. I'm here before you to express serious concerns about the proposed condo, such as my neighbors have expressed on the condo development of 10130 Adela project. As a resident and neighbor, I'm deeply worried about the health and safety risks this project poses, especially to children at the nearby schools. Potentially exposure to toxins through soil, air, or water during and after construction raises red flags for the community. Some key concerns include lack of transparency around the extent of contamination and cleanup plans, airborne health risks during construction, particularly for children, the need for independent testing, and long-term environmental monitoring, inadequate community outreach, and limited public information. Questions about accountability if issues arise post-development. Another topic I would like to discuss is the removal of the K-rail, which is also the barrier. To my understanding, while talking to neighbors, the K-rail was placed for traffic control about 30 years ago, as there was an accident due to two cars racing. By removing the barrier, there will be a disruption to traffic flow, and it would create confusion or unsafe driving conditions. We strongly urge the city to pause this project until a full, transparent environmental review is completed and shared with the public. At a minimum, a community meeting should be held to address resident and school concerns. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello, Madam Mayor, City Council members. Thank you for giving me this time to speak. I am also here to oppose the
Can we
Adela.
have your name for the record, please?
Oh, Lupe Perez, Area 4.
Thank you.
I'm also here to oppose the Adela project at 10130. Initially, I was being very selfish and opposing that project because I don't want the K-rail. But as some of my other neighbors mentioned, as we started looking into the history of that piece of land, it seems to be contaminated with lead. I know the city manager mentioned that there were tests done in the past, but we are asking that updated testing be done because there are two schools next to this piece of land. And I personally have a niece and a nephew who go to that school. And I wouldn't want to see their health be deteriorated. So I'm asking, how much is it worth to somebody that their health be at risk? We shouldn't put a price on someone's health. And I hope that you listen to your residents and not be pressured by outside factors, because your job is not easy. You get pressure from the state, from the city, from, your own residents, because we all want something. We all need something from you. But in this case, there are health risks involved for children and the residents. And on a personal level, I would not want that K-rail removed. I know the city manager said there's something that's going to be in place to automatically open and give access to the fire department, but we don't have enough police officers to protect us. How is this system going to work? Is there someone who's going to be operating the system? Is it automatic? If it's automatic, we have people who vandalize and they break things. And if that happens, we know what's going to happen. They're going to remove this whole system altogether just because the city won't be able to maintain it if it's an automatic system. So please, when you consider this project, we want like someone else said, a responsible project that protects the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello, my name is Darla. I'm here representing not only myself, but my mother, who's currently disabled, and my younger brother, who's currently with her. And I have been a resident of Southgate for 24 years, since I was 3 years old. And one of the biggest things that brought my parents to buying a house in Southgate, specifically on Aldridge, I live right on Aldridge, is that, like someone else mentioned, the peaceful, quiet pocket that is our neighborhood. And now that I'm older and I work from home a few days on my breaks, I'm able to walk my dog, and I can now appreciate that as well, how it's peaceful and quiet. And when, someone is there that belongs there, and maybe, someone that doesn't. And I fear that, I believe that this project would diminish that and would increase traffic. And all that peacefulness is due to the lack of traffic. And I believe that that would increase it one way or another. And so not only do I oppose, the removal of the barrier, which now, has been clarified that it won't be removed, just upgraded, but also the building of this condominium. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Liz Ruiz, I wanted to bring up a couple of things. First, I wanted to thank Chief Arakawa for responding to a public records request not a records request, but a public comment I submitted to give him a heads up about a question regarding animal abuse There's been a few posts. I'm one of the moderators on the Southgate Pet Scanner. And I also, as I mentioned before, I volunteer doing trap, neuter, return for feral cats in our area, Southeast LA. And I've been doing that since 2017. And I don't want to get into graphic details, but there's just a lot of evil people in our area that take out their frustrations on animals that, have no say in existing in our area. And unfortunately, there have been a lot of instances, even in our city, where animals have been poisoned, have been tortured. And so I did send a email asking our chief what the process is for reporting those. When I have reported that in the past on behalf of some of the feeders that I've been helping in our area, it's been difficult because PD, and not just in our area, but in other neighboring cities, the police department says, oh, it's animal control. Animal control says, oh, no, it's the police department. And so I was hoping to get, and I did get your email, but if you can let folks know, I did, let people on the pet scanner know that I would be asking this. So if you can go through that process, that would be great on what to do, who to contact, what to ask for, because I do get a lot of responses of staff being confused on what to do. And then the other thing, last week's planning commission, I am one of the planning commissioners, and a lot of things did come up for me. I can't explain how much time I spent preparing for the meeting, which was a lot. But for the first item, which, some of the speakers before me talked about, I did want to bring up a concern regarding residual contamination at some of these sites, because a lot of and it kind of goes on to the second item that we had in our meeting, which is redeveloping in contaminated sites. And I did request for a follow-up for one of our meetings on what can be done to make sure that that the redevelopment is done safe, that, can we make sure that all the contamination is taken out? Do we have somebody within the planning department that can oversee that a proper vapor barrier or engineering controls, is what they're called, are implemented to make sure that the contamination, that these vapors don't go through into the property? As an environmental consultant, I can say that I've seen some of these fail, and it's really heartbreaking to see residents that don't even know they're being exposed to dangerous vapor, cancer-causing vapors.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you. Next item. Next speaker, please.
Good evening, Council. My name is James Ganeo, and I'm a resident of Southgate and a Boy Scout of Troop 468. I'm here today to ask for your support for my Eco Scout service project in helping teens within the foster care system. I hope to be able to submit my letter of donation, which contains my project message, which reads as following. Adolescence is a challenging time, filled with self-discovery, new emotions, and the pressure to fit in. Many teens with struggling self-esteem often tie their confidence to how they look, their haircut, clothes they wear, to how their shoes fit. Now imagine having to navigate this troublesome time without a stable home. Unfortunately, for many foster youth, this is their reality. And for adolescent males, this is even more of an issue, often receiving less donation than other groups. I come here today to ask for your support, and not only to reach out to my community, but also to help as many teens in the foster care community as possible. I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Hey, good evening, Armando Velasquez, Independence Avenue. And I'm excited to bring you a new report from the Kiwanis Club of Southgate. We also have President Hema Vega back over there. Say hi, Hema. Hey. And we're excited that we are launching a new tradition here in the city of Southgate. There are many great ones, but sometimes we have to hit upon aspects that we haven't been really touching upon lately. And one of them is our educators and our first responders. Raise your hand if you're one or the other. Well, then you're going to be very excited to know that we are launching the first ever Golden Apple and Heart of a Hero Award Ceremony program. It is a program that Kiwanis has in other cities as well. And so what the Golden Apple is we are requesting for nominations from principals and also soon from the public to select one educator from each institution to receive a Golden Apple Award. We are collaborating also with Chief Arakawa. We also will be collaborating with Chief Espy from the fire department to select a Heart of a Hero recipient. We're very excited about this. For those of you who may be interested in supporting, I did bring flyers here and packets in case you're interested, but if you're looking to support, the actual event is on Friday, May the 2nd. It's going to be at the Henry C. Gonzalez Auditorium. We are selling tickets, we are selling tables, and yes, we are soliciting sponsorships. And why are we doing that? The reason why we're doing that is our Kiwanis Club has slowly become one of the largest youth program sponsors in the city of Southgate. We sponsor 6 high school key clubs, 2 elementary school K-Kids Club, and we now have the first ever middle school Builders Club program. We have over 250 youth under our Kiwanis umbrella. That can probably compete with most programs, maybe second or third to like programs like the JAA or so. But it's continuing to grow because we often get solicitations from our schools that they want a club. And in order for us to be able to support them, we need to raise funds for them. So while we will be recognizing our educators and our first responders, we will also be raising funds for our youth. And by the way, if you're a teacher or first responder, this is what you get. We've invested a lot of money in a lot of custom items. So if you're a recipient of a Golden Apple, you're going to get this really nice custom pin that you could wear at all your fancy events with the Golden Apple on there. It's really nice. First responders, you're going to get a coin, a 2-sided coin, one featuring the police department, the other side featuring the fire department. It's really nice. So council members, you receive packets on your desk. You probably received an email from me about a week or so ago. I'll be following up on that. But if you are interested in supporting this program, I do have some packets here. And if for whatever reason I don't have enough here, you can always go to southgatekiwanis.org or follow us at Southgate Kiwanis on Instagram. Thank you.
Thank you, Armando. And thank you for the great work that Kiwanis does. Yes, thank you. Okay, is there anyone else? I'm closing the audience. We're coming to emails. Do we have any emails?
Yes, Madam Mayor, we have 4.
Go ahead.
The first one is from Claudia Rivera, and she is frustrated that her email was misrepresented at last week's Planning Commission meeting, where it was only stated that she was against the project. However, that wasn't what her email was about. It was actually criticizing people for going to meetings talking about corruption. She stated if the content of our messages is not going to be conveyed, then people should not be allowed to submit emails at all. Second one is from Jennifer Daly. She commends the Southgate Planning Commission for rejecting the appeal and the zone change for the Engels illegal truck yard at 8530 Alameda Street, citing the health and safety concerns. She urges the City Council to uphold the Commission's decision if the appeal is brought before them, and she criticizes the lack of enforcement. She also questions the termination of the Community Development Director, Ms. Meredith Alguida. Ms. Daly calls on the Council to vote no on both the appeal and the zone change, warning that failure to do so could lead to further actions. We have one more from Mr. Mario Dominguez, and he expresses his dissatisfaction with Jennifer Daly's statements, particularly her accusations that the City Council members are crooked and corrupt. He appreciates that Daly spoke against the business seeking special consideration, but he finds her claims of corruption baseless and harmful to the city's reputation. Dominguez argues that after attending the City Council meetings since 2021, he has not seen any evidence of wrongdoing and believes Daly's accusations are unfounded. He appreciates Mr. Salinas for clarifying the city's government structure and dismissing the false accusations. While Mr. Dominguez disagrees with the council's approach at times, he defends them against any corruption claims. That's all emails, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. And before we go to staff reports, I just want to commend all of you for being here today and bringing your concerns. Unfortunately, we cannot, do anything. We're here to listen because it's not in the agenda. We cannot talk about the items, but I know there's some questions that they were asked. Staff will answer those questions. So, so with that, we'll go on to staff reports, and that would be Arturo.
Yes, Madam Mayor, thank you for the opportunity. I do want to address the concerns with regards to potential issues on Santa Ana and potential solutions. You know, William Orejana is an individual from our traffic engineering division that was tasked with contacting the resident to explain some of the challenges with attempting to install a speed hump on a street like Santa Ana. Too many times we jump to conclusions that there are certain devices or certain safety measures that the city can take that will actually improve safety, but in some cases that is not the case. So we rely on engineering analysis to make a determination on what are the issues and then what are the potential solutions. In the case of Santa Ana, for example, a speed hump, as safe as it may sound, could actually be a safety issue for the corridor. Cars travel at a certain speed there, and you'd imagine a car or cars flying over the speed humps and creating an even larger safety issues. So we are looking at Santa Ana, some of the potentials. In fact, tonight there is a studies that the council is approving an amendment for that is further analyzing street conditions for safety and what possible guidance they can provide for solutions that we can have on streets like Santa Ana. Other challenges, like you heard, you know, the issue of Huntington Park, the street is in two cities. Two cities might have different policies and might have different views on what is safe or not. So there are a lot of challenges, but the overarching challenge is that speed humps can't be installed on streets like Santa Ana, but it's something that we are looking at. I also want to quickly provide a construction update on the 20 Mile Complete Streets project. I'm happy to report that construction activities are peaking. The contractor is working literally day and night to try to get the project done as timely as possible. At nighttime, they're doing the repairs of the roadway to minimize impact to the businesses. At the end of this week, all the grinding will be done and repaving will start over the next couple of weeks. And during the daytime, if you've driven the corridor, you'll see that the contractor is installing benches, trellises, the bus shelters, and what have you. So we're getting pretty close to substantial completion. The project right now is scheduled for completion in the first week in May. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Steve?
Good evening, Madam Mayor and council members. We've had a very busy weekend here at Southgate Park. Tons of things going on. We had our carnival Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with good attendance on all the days through that. Friday night, we had art night. We had a couple hundred people show up for art night. We had lots of drawing, playing with Play-Doh, doing other things, lots of different art activities going on. A lot of younger youth too, which was a good thing in our view of what's happening there. With that, we also had our Miss Southgate pageant. We have a new Miss Southgate and Court. We will be introducing them on the second meeting in April to the council and then giving thanks to our current court. So we'll be taking care of that coming up here soon. As noted earlier, we did have a fireworks show that went off quite well for fireworks show. I know it understand that it does interrupt some sounds for animals and other things, but it is a very popular item within the city, and we received a lot of positive feedback on that item there. And finally, we had a good car show. Brought in about 125 cars, motorcycles, bikes, the whole thing. Good attendance at that too. It was a beautiful day to have a car show. Very successful event there. So a lot of things going on, as always, in March. We have, I'll let the mayor talk about that one next, coming up. But we also have a Mom Prom coming up and an Easter Fest coming up in April.
Yeah.
So a lot of things going on at Southgate Park, but that's nothing new. Thank you.
Thank you. Dave?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just to say, appreciating the comments from the public tonight regarding the recent Planning Commission action. I'd like to make myself, as well as our Planning Manager John Signo available to the residents. If they'd like to connect with us, we can explain some of the background as we did to the Planning Commission last week, and help gain some understanding of the issues at play and kind of go from there. So encourage them to contact staff, and we can be available. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. John.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and council members. As I normally announce, we are always recruiting for a variety of positions here within the city. On our website at cityofsouthgate.org, there's a jobs tab, and in particular, about every time I announce that we are recruiting for police officers. And we have many, many applicants, but the key is the qualified applicants. And when I mean qualified, it is a stringent background process that all applicants will go through. And I know the chief can probably comment more, but there is a certain level of pride that the police department holds in having only the very best be able to wear that uniform. And so while you can hire anybody that can barely pass a background exam, that will lead to greater liability. It leads to a lack of trust in the communities. And over the last maybe decade or so, that has been something that this police department has worked very hard to restore. So while we constantly are evaluating the market to make sure that we are paying all of our employees a competitive wage, it is a highly competitive market out there to attract and recruit police officers. And it's not just the city of Southgate. This is a statewide issue. And so we do everything we can. We have hiring incentives such as a $15,000 bonus, $20,000 for laterals. We'll send qualified applicants to the police academy. It's just the number of qualified candidates that we can actually bring in, regardless of the number of applicants we can attract, is something that there's a high level of quality control. And I think that's evident in the quality that our police department has represented to this community, and not just in their policing services, but their community-oriented policing where they engage with the community. So with that, we are doing our very best to recruit for not just our police officers, but all of our positions. And we are targeting the highest quality individuals we possibly can to serve the people of the city of Southgate. So with that, if there's any interest, please go to cityofsouthgate.org, hit the jobs tab and apply.
Great, thank you, John. Chief?
Mayor and council, as John was mentioning, we're always looking for good police officers. We actually had a police officer graduate from the academy last week. Officer Batres was a former dispatch over at Bell PD, and we were able to bring her over as a police officer. So you'll be meeting her in the future when we introduce new employees. I have 3 that are getting ready to go to the next academy, and we got some good quality candidates and backgrounds, and recently hired a lateral from LA Sheriff's Department. He's already in field training. So we're making progress one step at a time. But again, it goes back to quality, not quantity, because I could fill my numbers pretty quickly if I wanted to. But there has to be a right fit for this city and our police department. I did want to touch on what Liz had mentioned before. I did respond to your email. I'm a cat lover myself. I rescued a dog from Siaka and picked up some cats from the street, and they became my best friend. So I feel you when you're talking about abuse of animals. So Siaka is a contract that the city of Southgate works with to handle our animal control services. They actually service 14 cities with roughly 900,000 residents, and we get roughly 40 hours of service from a fully dedicated animal control officer. There's no set hours as long as we get our 40 hours, because you don't have a set time for animal control. I mean, it's just kind of runs a gamut. But by and large, if there's any issues that are animal related, you can do one of 2 things: call Siaka directly, or if you call dispatch and we look at that, evaluate it, we're going to call Siaka. We're basically going to do what the resident would do. They respond as we do based on priority calls. And again, unless it's an in-progress abuse incident, they probably won't come out. We may come out on something like that if we see an animal abuse or we hear of an animal abuse in progress. But by and large, if there's a issue regarding animal control, please have the residents can call SIACA directly. They're in Downey, and we have access to them 24/7, even though we only get 40 hours of service a week. They will respond based on their staffing level at SIACA. And just want to remind you that tomorrow at Chick-fil-A, we have coffee with our SWAT team. Our SWAT team will be out from 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. For members of the community to get to know and question the things that we do on the tactical side of things. Just about all the officers on the SWAT team are well-experienced officers that have a variety of training that bring a lot of experience to high-risk situations, search warrants, and high-level policing. So it's an opportunity just to get to connect with the officers that do that kind of work. It's a dangerous line of business when you get on that SWAT team, but remarkable individuals, and I encourage you to go out there and have some coffee with them. We'll even take care of Chick-fil-A will take care of that. They got good coffee, actually. And then
what time is this?
5 to 6:30 tomorrow at
Oh,
Chick-fil-A PM. And finally, for council, this Thursday, we have our Baker to Vegas fundraiser. For the residents that don't know what Baker to Vegas is we take a team of 20 runners that, along with about 280 other law enforcement agencies from across California, and actually there's a couple of international teams, and we run 120 miles a relay between Baker, California into Las Vegas. And it's more of a pride run for us, but we compete every year. This will be our 27th year we've competed. Sadly, I'm too old to run now, so I got all these youngsters that are running fast. But I'll be out there supporting them and following them in the van, giving the water. That's all I'm good for now. That's what they told me. But anyways, our barbecue fundraiser is at Accurate or Astro Aluminum. So feel free to drop by and support. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Chief. So they're not letting you run anymore?
I'm not allowed.
Not allowed.
I don't think it's the age. I think it was your last time.
No, I actually surprised myself.
slowed
I actually
him
surprised
down.
myself. I'm not too slow, but there's faster runners.
City Manager?
Nothing to add.
Jerry?
Nothing to add, Madam Mayor.
City Treasurer?
Nothing new to report, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. City Clerk?
I have nothing, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Council Member, let me see.
At home, they just say, "Hey, you."
Hey,
With the,
You're up.
so I have a lot of notes. So please be patient and don't give me a 5-minute timer. Look, so I wish a lot of the folks who came by didn't leave because we appreciate everybody coming in and addressing issues that are important to you, but they're equally important to us. Quick history. I moved here in 1984. There were less than 70,000 people here. Now there's over 100,000. There's no room for any more people. And to have to build more housing is really not something that we really are like excited about, but we're required to come up with, believe it or not, 282 more housing opportunities. Where we're going to put them? But we're required to do that. I have no idea where we're going to do it. The only way is up. We're all built out. You know, we need businesses, but we're using all the land for housing. And it's frustrating because as much as we want to accommodate the needs of the community, we're required to follow the mandates. In terms of the locations of accidents, every time there's an accident, we all take it very seriously. I received a notification from an individual who said that we need to get crossing guards. We're doing our best. We have last year or this year, I think it was $712,000 that we spent on crossing guards. Is that correct?
Yeah, that was last year's number.
It's a lot of money from our budget, and LAUSD is really not cooperating with that. They're, they build the schools, they have students, and again, it goes to the overpopulation. You bring 8,282 more housing units, that's more people. That's more children. That's overcrowded schools. People talk about, the contamination. There's more to environmental impacts than the contamination that you talk about the dirt, the ground, the air, and the water. Environmental issues include mental health, lack of jobs, food deserts. Every time you turn around, there's another McDonald's or Wendy's or whatever. There's no health, opportunities. There's not enough good, healthy opportunities out there. Someone mentioned about health issues. I do my best. I eat healthy. I run all the time. I'll be 65 next month, I hope, make it. But I have cardiovascular issues. I suffered a massive heart attack in 2015. I have respiratory issues. I have allergies from all the gunk that we're breathing. People talk about trying to protect the area where you live. Well, I live at the mobile home park. I'm surrounded on one side by the freeway. It's a stone's throw away. On the other side is the contaminated LA River. Not to mention the electric wires that are going right by where I live. Our ground here is contaminated. So every time a project goes up, we insist that it gets taken care of. I get asked quite a bit as to why we don't comment on issues like the issues that were talked about at the Planning Commission. We have laws that we have to follow. If I were to go ahead and right now say this is going to be my position if it comes to me, if I say that today, I have to recuse myself and not participate in the meeting, or we would face a lawsuit. So when people come in and say, why aren't you saying something? Why don't you take a position? And that's because we cannot. If we do that, again, we have to recuse ourselves, and then we cannot participate. And anyone who comes here and stands here and does a presentation and asking us to vote, by law, we have to give them what's known as a merit-based decision. We cannot come up here with a bias. I'm a bit of a tree hugger. I want to protect the environment. Many years ago, a lot of people did not care about that stuff. We have a thing called PFAS. I'm sure that Liz is very familiar with that. That's a man-made chemical from the 1940s. And whether you know this or not, all of us have that chemical in our body now because DuPont and 3M threw that in the water. Every living thing on this planet now has that, and it's a cancer-causing chemical. It was created purposely to protect tanks from getting rusted in the military in the 1940s. People used it. A lot of you folks, my wife did also. They bought those Teflon nonstick pans. Guess what makes it nonstick? That chemical. Now, when you go buy one of those pans, you'll see it does not contain PFAS, PFAS, and they have to do that by law. But it's too late. We all have it. There's nothing we can do about it. And so when we take positions up here, we care about the health issues because we too live here. Whenever a project goes up and they have to throw dirt up in the air, we breathe that. And I'm going to ask staff to really take a good look whether I'll be able to participate because I live directly across from that project, and any work they do, that dust will go up in the air. And if I'm within 500 feet of that distance of that location, I won't be able to participate. And I have, there's a stake I have. It's my health, the health of my family, but also the health of all the people that were here. And again, I appreciate the comments that people make, but I also, one person said that we have a tough job because we get pressure from that one and we get pressure. You know how many emails we get threatening with recalls? And all we're trying to do is serve you, the people, but we have laws we have to follow. And I tell you that because anybody who would sit up here is bound by those same laws. I don't blame you for getting angry at us once in a while, but we have to make those tough decisions because we too are impacted by those decisions. I Yeah, I think I said more than I want to, but again, to the issues about the unsafe roads, I gotta tell you, I drive through these streets. It's so frustrating. There is not one single street that has not been examined by experts, the traffic experts. They do traffic studies. Every road is considered to be safe. But I can't drive the car for that person going at a 35 mile per hour zone, or they're driving 55. I can't put the brake on when they're running the red light. They're at fault for the accidents that are going on out here. Every single accident that goes on out here is some driver who was distracted or didn't care about your safety or our safety. We want to make these streets as safe as possible, but I can't drive the cars for them. See them every day. You know, and the first day that I heard about the accident that took the life of the young lady, I called our director of public works, Art Cervantes, and I asked him, I know that a traffic study is done. I know that there's an impact to the budget because either the resident pays for it, but see if there's a way that we can do it. So anybody who's thinking that we are just pushing this off to somebody, we hear this from a lot of street corners, not just that one. Every street corner, everybody wants speed bumps. Everybody wants stop signs. Everybody wants traffic. I get it. So do I. But the only reason we need it is because people are failing to follow the law. I think I said enough. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Oh, I just want to say thank you to Southgate Youth Football. Those of you that know, I get involved in a lot of youth programs. When I was growing up, things were tough for my family, and so getting into sports was not the easiest thing. So now that I have the opportunity, I try to work with the youth programs, trying to help them out. And today they gave me this nice, beautiful jacket. They think I'm bigger than I look. Maybe, I don't know. But it looks pretty nice. I really like it. It's from Southgate Youth Football. So again, thank you to Laura Gonzalez and Southgate Youth Football for thinking of me. Thank you so much, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Hurtado. Councilman Rios.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, folks, for doing your civic duty, being here tonight. We really appreciate your time. I know you work hard, and then you spend time here this evening with us. And you bring these issues that are very important to us. And we do listen. And I'll tell you, it makes a difference, you being here. It does make a difference. So I echo what my colleague, Councilmember Hurtado, mentioned in regards to the incidents. We have too many, but after COVID, it seems like people are driving. They don't even stop at my stop sign, and they just keep, I don't know what people are thinking. It's kind of, but yeah, those that are here today, be sure that we're going to be discussing with staff some of these issues and see how we can make the streets safer, and of course that project over there on the other side of town. We just, I think there were some valid points. I think we have to kind of really look into it. So we'll look into it and see how we can make it safer or what we can do. So we are listening. I just want to say also that I don't remember, we was a lot of regarding the homeless count. Did we do it this year? Because it might have passed on me. Did we do the homeless count this year? Because I know the county did.
Do the what?
Is it up or down? I just want to know. I don't know the numbers. I'm not prepared, but I can ask Lieutenant Garcia tomorrow. Okay, it's good.
January.
Okay, yeah, I just want to get a report back on that. And I want to thank the mayor for inviting the folks from the college to kind of give a update on the construction and the time frame because I know we've been waiting a lot of years, and the Councilman Barone for his comments that they're very positive, and I appreciate that. The college has been serving this community for 30 years at, the Southeast. I mean, it started in Huntington Park and now here, and can't wait to that realization of that building actually opening up in the fall of 2026. So looking forward to it. Just so you know, that's going to be a state of the art. It's going to have everything, new labs, no old furniture. Everything is going to be new.
And we're going to be hiring some people too. So we're really excited about that. And then hopefully that we can kind of develop that area around the college, because the west side's always been a concern of the residents here. And so hopefully we can do some work around there to make it more attractive. I just want to say also that, those of you that know me, next week, first week of, they didn't mention it, but we're going to open up an office right there where Bobo's is at, on the plaza, Firestone Plaza. We have purchased 2 units while we're waiting for the campus to be built. And so there'll be a welcome center there, kind of admissions and financial aid and counseling and all that. So it's accessible with parking, so people can have that opportunity. That'll open up the first week of April. So we're excited about that opportunity to bring that in the community. And we'll still continue to offer classes at the Southgate High School, Jason, there in that Odyssey. So I just wanted to mention that. And then I noticed the benches here in the front of City Hall. Is that new? Yeah.
They've been there for a while.
Well, maybe I haven't sat on those benches, so I mean, okay.
You're okay.
I see everything, right? So that concludes my report.
I think it's because the council member is always on the move and doesn't have a chance to sit down.
Thank you, Councilman Rios. But yes, they've been there for a while.
They're nice.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to say really quick, I really wish the residents in the area were still here to hear, my comments, because I've been in their position, right? I've seen, I've lived in the city. I've lived in the same home since 1987. I grew up in the house, ended up buying the house once I got married, and I'm raising my 3 daughters there. And I live on the west side, right on 8819 Bodine, next to Calden Apartments, that has 217 units. It has, 71 2-bedrooms, 115 3-bedrooms, 30 4-bedroom apartments. And one of the things that that I've been very proud of what this council has done is we've decided as a group, as a city, that we want to make sure that the residents that live in our city take pride in where they're living. And having rental units, sometimes I feel, and this is my personal belief, it removes that pride of resident. And that's why we're moving towards asking developers to bring in projects where people can purchase it. People are investing in the community. And we're very hopeful with that. And when we see 52 units of condominiums coming into our community, yes, there's going to be an adjustment. I see that. But I also feel that there is an opportunity that we're losing out. I remember when an ADU required there to be in a parking spot on your property to be able to build it. And the state of California said, not anymore. It's not a requirement. As long as we have a bus stop within, I believe it's 500 feet, there's no requirement of that anymore. And most residents, most neighborhoods have a bus stop around that area, around that distance. So the requirement of parking on your property is gone. And that's happening. And what we're hoping is that those residents that want to stay in the community, because I want my daughters to be here. I want my daughters to live in my city, to the city that I grew up in. I want them to love it as much as I do. I want them to have the opportunity to have a housing opportunity in our city where they can build their own roots and build their family. So it's a very complicated issue. But what I will say, this council will never make a decision that impacts the health and safety of our community. And we'll definitely make sure that the land that's being built on is safe to be done and it's being done properly. We'll also ensure that, that all precautions are made to keep communities safe. The west side of Southgate, where I lived, was one of the oldest parts of Southgate. It was the community build for the Firestone Tire Factory. The residents that lived in our homes walked across the street to go to work. And they were, it was a beautiful place to grow up in. I remember the days where I could play on the street. I can play, stickball or baseball and football on the street. I remember that. I remember that there was never a car parked on the street. And that's not happening anymore. We're rushing home to figure out where we can park. We're trying to tell our neighbors, hey, take up 2 parking spots so I can find a way to park. And that's why I appreciate the city manager bringing up the preferential parking district. Back when the college opened up, which I love when the college opened up, but I soon realized that college kids did not want to pay for parking permits at the school. And they wanted to park in the residential area in our residence. So I would get home from work and I could not find a parking spot. There was nowhere to park until after 10 p.m. because the last class ended at 10. So we came to the city and said, hey, what could we do? And they offered us the opportunity of a preferential parking district. Monday through Thursday, from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m., you have to have a permit to park there. And it forced the students to invest in a parking permit or find a different area to park. And now that whole community is preferential parking. Calden, Bodine, Glenwood, we are all a preferential parking district, and we do that so that way we have a reasonable, opportunity to come home in peace and know that we have a parking spot and know that, yes, there is a way for us to do that. And I appreciate that the city manager brought that up, and I understand that it's an extra step, but it's a tool that we have to make sure that we're mitigating all the issues that come up with this. And I appreciate it because we've been a preferential parking district for some time now, and it's been a blessing in my neighborhood. And that's all I would like to say. But regarding the Santa Ana area, I will ask for one thing, and I think this is a common concern that a lot of our residents have brought up, is when they bring up a concern and they bring up something that, asking for help, I want us to be a partner with the resident in that process. I don't want it to ever feel that we're handing it off and saying good luck. I want it to be able to say, hey, here's what we need to do. If you help me with this, I'll help with this part. If you can get the residents around the area to do something, sign petition or figure out what to do, I can help with partnering with Huntington Park and figuring out what we're going to do. At the end of the day, we're a partnership. The residents who live there are the partner of the community. We're the partner of the city that's going to help them be successful. So I would only hope that we have that. And I apologize if you felt that we were just pushing you down and saying, you figure it out. That's not what the city is about. And I hope that the email didn't come across that way. But if it did, I want to apologize for that and say that we'll do better. And we'll make sure that we'll create that partnership that we need to. It may not be something that we can fix tomorrow, but we'll work it together. Okay?
All right. Great. Thank you, Vice Mayor. And again, but I'm going to follow up on what you just mentioned. Also, we have our city manager. If you have any concerns of any email or anything that you think that somebody else should look into it, you are more than welcome to call our city manager. And if he doesn't answer, call us. But I'm sure he is not going to wait for you to call us. He's going to take care of it. Right. No, but and this goes for anyone, if you think that you are not being heard or you feel that there's more that we can do, please reach out to us, reach out to a city manager, and I'm sure that you will get a response. And, we're here like our vice mayor said, we are partners. I mean, you help us to make things better. And that's how we all should be working together in order for the community to have a better community. Okay, so please do that. And I'm not going to repeat most of the comments that my colleagues made regarding the the apartments and the arena numbers. But just to be assured that sometimes when our residents come, and again, I wish that they'll go back to YouTube and look at this video and see the response that our council members made, because sometimes the message get loose, and we want to make sure that they are being informed correctly and information wise. So hopefully they can do that. But again, please come and participate and bring us your concerns. That's what we're here for. And we'd like to hear from all of you. We'd rather see a full chamber than an empty one. So again, thank you for all of you who are here. I'm just going to report real quick on some of the meetings and events that I have gone to. Participated at the Azalea Festival, went to the Art Festival. Great. A lot of kids. So that's really good. Also, I just want to mention the Miss Acelita contest did not happen due to lack of participation. So that didn't happen. But also the Miss Southgate pageant happened this past Saturday, and you mentioned that the second meeting in April, they'll be coming to present. Okay, good. And the car show, great car show, a lot of beautiful cars, and the number of cars, it was very, very impressive. I think the last time we had, I don't know how many cars do we had, Chief, when you had your car show?
How many cars?
Uh-huh.
Roughly 75, 80.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. There you go. Very nice. So with that, also, yesterday there was a workshop on broadband opportunities, and this is something that is coming to our city hall. Gateway Cities Council of Governments went to Sacramento, and just for the entire Gateway Cities COGS, they got $104 million to put those fiber optics in all city halls. So, and this must be done by 2026, the end of 2026. So I think this is great for the entire city. And from there, it can expand to businesses, homes. And I'm pretty excited that that we got this opportunity, to bring this fiber optic network to, to our city hall. And from there, we can move it on to our own communities, our businesses. I think this is a great opportunity. And I have and I'm sure you already got the PowerPoint that they were doing. But if you need it, you can have it. Otherwise, they also emailed it to us, so we can look into that one. And for that, I think that's about it. I mentioned.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Just letting you know that Wi-Fi went down for about 15 minutes, and so part of the meeting wasn't seen, but it would be saved and people can see it, or?
So the first part of the meeting that was recorded will be saved and people can see it.
Gotcha.
I really don't know, haven't had the opportunity to go back and see how much was actually not seen.
Okay.
I recorded on my phone.
But it was recorded.
It was recorded.
Okay.
Hopefully, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
The Wi-Fi showed that it went off and then it actually kicked me out. And then I went back in and logged back in, yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. So with that, at this time, I know that we've been going long, and I want to give the opportunity for our translator to take a little break. So we're going to take a 5-minute break. Thank you.
You might want to ask how many people still need the.
How many of you need translation? Okay, no more translation. Thank you. You can get a break. We're going to take a 5-minute break. Thank you. With the, okay, we are back.
You wanted to make sure the benches were still.
Okay. Can we check to see where our other council member is at? Okay. City Clerk, can you go ahead and read our consent calendar, please?
Agenda items 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 are consent calendar items, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, does anyone in the audience would like to speak on anything on consent? Liz? No? No?
Oh, shoot. Regarding the comprehension safety action plan, the roadway safety plan, I really wanted to reiterate with one of the public comments said earlier that it's, and even Alria's mentioned it, and I don't know if I mentioned it last time, but I walk in my neighborhood a lot, and there was actually an instance where I was flagging down Al Rios, but he,
On what item are you speaking on?
number 3,
Okay.
he was preoccupied because somebody ran, I think they ran the red stop sign, right? 2 racing cars just zoomed through. And I was thinking, if I didn't cross the street to say hi to Councilmember Rios, I would have been right in front of that stop sign, crossing with my baby. And it's just ridiculous, the carelessness that a lot of drivers have, the people that do block the driveways. You know, I walk with my baby on the stroller, and oftentimes I have to get off. And it's a parking issue too. It's usually in the evenings because people don't have anywhere to park, or they have driveways and they just don't go all the way in. They're blocking the street. And it's just really unfair, I think, for people like me who have strollers, for old people, people who have wheelchairs. There's a couple of neighbors I have that are on wheelchair, and the people that do block the curbs. You know, people are still parking right next to or on the corners, and it's really unfortunate. And I'm really looking forward to when the city can really start painting those curbs, because people get out of hand. They don't have to park right on the curb. I seen it on Tweety, and I was like, aren't the tickets during construction zones like tripled or something? I don't know if that applies here, but It's ridiculous. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Do we have any, I'm going to close the audience. And do we have any emails?
We have no emails, Madam Mayor.
No emails? Okay. All
Madam
right,
Mayor?
close that. Yes, Councilman.
Yeah, so there's a flip of a coin that has to take place here between Joshua Barone, Vice Mayor Barone, and Councilmember Rios due to item number 6. Item number 6 is too close to the property for the Vice Mayor, and Councilmember Rios is a dean of East LA College. So they'll have to flip a coin to vote on that,
City Attorney?
or pick a number, or they can arm wrestle, rock, scissors, paper, you call it, whatever they want to do. Rock, scissors, paper?
Okay. Any comments on any of the items? While our city attorney is.
Mayor. Item number 5, I just was looking at it, and I just want to highlight, there's quite a bit of investment in our parks, right? And so it's a good thing. I think that the community should know that
After he's done.
we're making a good investment in the upgrade of our parks, and some of the things are exciting. So it's a good thing for the community. So yeah, just want to mention that.
Okay, city attorney?
Yes, Madam Mayor, we are just trying to figure out the right process for.
Write a number on a piece of paper, and then whoever comes.
All right,
closest
that's
to it.
fine. I can do that. Okay, give me.
And then just show it to them.
Hold on.
City attorney?
I'm going to write a number.
No one has coins. Flip a dollar
Right between
bill.
1 and 10, the closest gets it. Okay.
Hang on. He's still writing it.
Okay.
Got it?
What number?
6.
Number?
The number is 7.
There you
Okay.
go. So I don't, he
You don't-
votes.
You can't vote.
He votes. I don't
You
vote.
No,
can-
you can vote. You can vote.
6.
Okay.
Any further questions on consent?
No, I just wanted to say
Mm-mm.
that, I mentioned the RENA numbers, how ridiculous they are, and that's on item number 4. Again, it's unfortunate that we have to try to make every effort, and it's causing, this, right? And see, they're talking about the traffic on, in that area of Atlantic and Tweedy. And they haven't even figured yet what the impact is going to be when the other location on Tweedy and Atlantic, where the old Adar Farm site is, that's near Pinehurst. And, we talk about the traffic caused by one project, and it's going to be
Another one.
exacerbated by another one, and yet we have to deal with it. But again, it's important that we start addressing these issues where people understand where we are. We are not happy with having to do these things, but it's out of our control in some cases. And that's it. And I will recuse myself from item number 7 when it comes out.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay.
I'll second, except recusing myself from item number 7 because that's within 500 feet from where I live, Garfield Avenue.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hurtado recusing himself from item number 7.
And yes on everything else.
Thank you. Councilmember Rios recusing yourself from item number 6.
Right, and yes on everything.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Barron?
Yes, and then just for the record that I'm voting on item number 6 based on the vote that was taken by the city attorney.
Thank you. Mayor Davila?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, motion passes. We'll move on to our next item, which is the warrants.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I'd like to go, I'm sorry, go ahead.
City Council will consider approving the warrant register for March 25th, 2025. The grand total is $2,716,745.33. Cancellations are 106027, 106140, 106268, 106272, 106347, 106359, 106478, 106537, 106538, 568, 106750, 106770, 106943, 107011, 107112, 109500. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'd like to go ahead and open it up to any member here in the audience who has any questions or comments regarding the warrant register. Seeing none, any emails, Madam Clerk?
We have no emails. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Anything from the council? Your
No?
wishes?
Motion to approve?
Just one, a couple of things. Mr. City Manager, is it possible that you sit down with the city auditor? And because he's been pointing some things out to me, and I just want to make sure that we're able to address it. It has to do with some of the payments that we're making in regards to some of the contracts. And even though we agree on, a certain payment, we got to look at how they're charging the overtime, how they're charging us for the work that's being done. And then some of the payments that we're making, because we're approving them tonight, in some cases are considered to be late and we have to pay a late fee. How do we
Get
do
to
it
it.
differently to avoid that? Because at the end, it just adds up. So is there a way you can sit with them? And you don't have to answer tonight. I don't know if I caught you off guard, but someone told me you're pretty smart, so I don't know.
That's to be determined. But certainly welcome the opportunity to chat with about some ideas of how to help assist that issue that other cities put in place. So I think we have some solutions.
Okay.
Thank you. And thank you for bringing that up. Thank you. What are your wishes, guys?
Second.
First and second, roll
Okay.
call?
So initially, I had a motion of Maria Davila as first and Rios as second.
Yes, that's
Okay.
fine.
Councilmember Hurtado,
Yes.
Councilmember Rios,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Barron,
Yes.
Mayor Davila.
Yes.
Motion
you.
to adjourn.
Okay, we are adjourning tonight in memory of let's see,
Liliana Salazar Lopez.
Liliana Salazar Lopez. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a
Thank you.
good night. Seven. If not earlier, but the 7. Yeah. Thank you.